guys! So, some of you have been wondering on how to make a dragon puppet, and today I'm finally going to show you. So, first, of course, you'll need your cardboard. This might be a little bit awkward to film me making it, so yeah, you have been warned, because I don't really have anything to hold my phone up, just my hand, and yeah. Okay, so after you get your cardboard, you're going to want to just do this, okay? Once you have your pencil, you're going to want to sketch this out, alright? Nice. Now that you hopefully have these two circles, they're pretty easy to do. You just do one circle, doesn't have to be perfect, and then you do another one, smaller, and it has to be close enough there so you can connect it easy enough, because this is going to be the base for your dragon's head. So now, after you have the circle, you're going to want to basically trace out how you want your dragon's head to look. I do it differently every single time, so you don't have to do it the exact same. Yeah, so usually I just go like this. So what I did was just trace over the circles, then connected those two. I usually like a little bit of a longer snout, if you couldn't tell by some of my other dragons. Basically, you're going to just want to trace these, and you should have a nice little head shape starting. Now, you don't have to erase this because you're going to make this the other side. So now, you're going to want to figure out the horn shape you want. I typically just glue my horns on after I cut it out, so let's do that. Now, you should have something resembling a dragon or whatever head you want cut out. I usually leave my bases kind of flat and make the heads kind of big and chunky. That's just what I do, but I will trim it down a little bit because this is a little bit too big for what I'm planning on making. Okay, so after a minor head surgery, here he is. And as you can see, I went back and I added a little fang. And don't be afraid to cut and mix and mash your dragon. It can be whatever. Now you have one side, you're going to want to trace it onto your cardboard, and you're going to want to make the other side of it. But since the actual sketch is here, you can either erase that and trace it like this, or you can turn it on this side, so that way it's nice and fresh. And then when you cut the other one out, make sure you cut it on the side you do not want people seeing. So majority of the time you'll cut it out, but in case you don't want to cut it out, or sorry, not cut it out, paint it. In case you don't want to paint it, then you'll want to trace it on the other side. So I'll be back and I'll have two in a second. Okay, and now I have two. But as you can see when I lay them on the ground, the traced one is a little bit bigger than this one. That's because when you trace it, obviously your pencil's going to be out here, and it's not going to be exactly up against the cardboard. Well, it is going to be exactly up against the cardboard, but it adds a little bit of an inch. Well, not an inch, just a little bit of space there. So then it makes it so the second one is bigger. Don't worry if that happens. You just have to hold them up to each other, trim it how you want. Heck, even the fangs aren't facing the same way. That's okay though, because we can fix that. I mean, unless you don't want to. For me, I'm just not going to do that because I've decided that I want the fangs to look different on the other side. So yeah, I'm just going to leave it. But now, we have both of our pieces. Now, you're going to want to figure out, what kind of horns you want, if you want horns, whatever you want on the dragon. Because you're going to want to have those cut out before you actually start, gluing things. Because that just makes it a little bit easier because you can already figure out where you want everything to be. I typically put horns or some kind of antenna on mine, but you don't have to. For this one, I think I'm going to do something different, and I'm not going to do that. So now, you're going to want to, after you figure out whatever you want, you're going to want to cut it out. And I almost forgot, but our dragon doesn't have a jaw yet. And I think they would very much appreciate a jaw. So let's do that. Okay, so for the jaw, I just went in here and traced out what the bottom of my dragon's head looks like. So now I can get a nice jaw shape. So I got the jaw. Now you're going to want to double this just like you did with, of course, the head. Here they are. This is probably still going to work. It's just not going to be as good because look at how much smaller this one is compared to the first one. definitely not exactly what I'd like, and it's kind of annoying, but that's my fault. It's on me. It's fine. Do not make the same mistakes as me. Anyway, yeah, let's continue this. So now you have all the parts that you wanted. You think you're ready to do the base, except now comes some even more tracing and measuring, except I don't really do that. So can I even say measuring? Gonna want to measure and trace the size of your hand as well. Just like trace a straight line up from your pinky finger and go across to your middle finger and then down from your pointer finger, because you're gonna want it to be the same width as your hand, otherwise it's gonna just get uncomfortable. Same with length. It's gonna be really uncomfortable if it's not the same length or width. Yeah, please do this. Okay, so now I just finished cutting out all of the cardboard pieces, which is honestly a decent bit. And I marked where each of them go, and then I put the corresponding number onto the thing. Like, for example, this one says 6, and this is 6, so this goes right there like that. And basically I did this for the entire dragon, and this triangle part here is where these unmarked pieces go. And these unmarked pieces are where I put my hand. So I'll put my hand like this, so I can puppeteer the dragon. And now, I've hoped you would glue your glue gun, or plug your glue gun in after you've cut these out, which I have not yet, but now I will, and I'll show you what it should look like once it's all glued up. What it looks like with it on. I did have to rearrange this part a little bit because my hand wouldn't fit nicely inside, but now it does. Kind of looks like a maze, and I left this part open since I do have enough cardboard to fill it, but I didn't exactly measure that part. So yeah, this is what it looks like on the inside, and then here's the other side. Now what you're gonna want to do is take your glue gun. I brought up a few sticks of glue, I forgot to mention that, but you're gonna need a few. And now you're gonna want to glue the top onto this part. So you're just gonna want to like put the glue on every single piece so that will go on nicely. And don't put it on backwards. That is a mistake I've made once and only once. You do not want to make that mistake. So yeah, I'm just gonna do that. Alright, and there we go. I got the other side on, but it's a little bit uneven because I kind of cut them wrong. So now from this side, that part looks bigger, and from this side, it sticks out. But that's okay. And it's not really the best glued on because it kept falling off, so you're probably going to want to glue in the sides there, which I'm going to do really quickly just now. Alright, I just filled it in with more glue, so now if you look, it looks way better. Also, this is my last glue stick, so there's perks in having a hollow inside of the base. You can put things in it. And now, I just gotta do what I did with the head, but for the jaw. And it doesn't have to be that wide this time since you only need to measure your thumb. You could make it wider if you really wanted to. I don't, that's just my style. So yeah, this is pretty simple. You just put some kind of compartment to hold your thumb, like around here. It might be a little big, yes. It might be a little bulky, yes, because it needs to fit your thumb, and it's gonna stick out if you made your jaw as thin as mine. But in other cases, like for example, my plate dragon, it still doesn't have a name yet, but it also doesn't have the other side of its head. Ignore this little part here because that is basically like, originally it was gonna have a movable eye that could blink and stuff. I gave up on that. But, so his jaw is pretty thick. Like you can see, it's pretty thick where my thumb is, so you can't really see it that well when I'm using it, so it opens and closes nicely. But that's basically what I did here, because I didn't need something big and bulky like a base for the head. Well, I mean, I still did a base, it just wasn't the best because I decided early on that it was going to be one-sided since I made it out of one paper plate. Yeah, so that's basically what I'm going to do for this jaw, except other than it being like this, I'm going to have another thing attached right there. Yeah. see you when that's done. Alright, I'm back, and here's the jaw. I did attach this little part so that way when it hit the top, it wouldn't damage this part, which I also decided to glue together, and it works perfectly. But there's something I forgot about. The whiskers! Alright guys, I attached his little whiskers. Looking super cute. I fixed up this. It looks kind of sloppy, kind of messy. That's okay. We don't know what he is yet. And now we just need to attach the jaw to this part. I like having the short part inside the mouth and then the longer part attached on here. I'll show you what that will look like. So here's what it looks like when you glue it on. And I bent it a little bit farther back this time because, so something I will do is I will put the jaw onto my hand, like this, once I have glued that little stringy part on. Then I will grab the main part of the head, like this, and then I will look for that stringy part and I will close the mouth, and wherever that sits most comfortably, which was right there, I will try to keep it as close as possible and I will bend it like I did. So I took that off to bend it, and then after you do that, all you gotta do now is just glue that little piece on. Also, if you still have horns or accessories you want to glue on after, which I'm thinking I might actually want to do because he looks kind of bald, you can still do that because you still have your hot glue gun, and hopefully you still have leftover cardboard, or at least some in the recycling box. Now, for now though, all that's left to do is just glue that little part in. And now it's glued in. All done, so now the jaw is officially connected. And yeah. So that was my tutorial on how to make a dragon base. Yeah. Good luck. If you would like help on how to actually make like the what's it called? Like the face, like the pattern and stuff like this, just comment down below. I'll probably turn that into a short because I can make that really, really small, really easily. So yeah, hope you enjoyed. Bye bye.